the Milwaukee Bucks. Milwaukee Bucks coming off a big win last night over the Oklahoma City Thunder. They are now 46-25, number 2 seed in the Eastern Conference. They're probably going to stay there. They are 3 games up on the Cleveland Cavaliers. Giannis had a monster game, 30 points, 19 rebounds. And that game, there's 2 things about that. One, that game showed me that, as I've been saying, as Pavy's been saying, I think the Thunder are just a cute story. If I was a veteran team, I'd be salivating to play them. But this team's been up and down. They had a little good run a couple games ago, like going on a little streak, and they went back to losing. Giannis won a couple games. Pav, man, what's your faith level in the the Milwaukee Bucks these last couple weeks of the season and heading into the East Conference playoffs?
I mean, I think you've got to have faith in them for one. I mean, even in the game that they lost to Boston when Giannis didn't play, I think the encouraging thing was the way Middleton looked. Like Middleton looked like he showed some semblance of himself that he was in 2021 when they won a ring. So I mean, I think you got to have faith because again, number one, I rock with Boston. I think Boston has probably the best roster in the NBA, but it's just Boston. And they just and for whatever reason, I still just don't trust them. Even though I think that if you just look on paper, I think that they should win a championship. But when I look at a series, I mean, granted, I know that Drew has done things to Dame, has done unholy things to Dame in the past. But I mean, Giannis took him to 7 with no Middleton. If you got Middleton and you got Dame there, and you think about the star power of Giannis, I mean, you got to give him a shot. So, I mean, like, yeah, I think the Bucks are playing better. They're finally getting healthy, and they're going to for sure have something to say down the stretch as long as they can be healthy and be on the court. They're for sure going to have something to say down the stretch for sure.
Everybody been falling for the mute thing today. The goddamn timeline. TPJ, what you think about, the Bucks?
For me personally, let's just take a look back. Dame Lillard getting traded. It really affected kind of the way that they, did things overall as a team. They were used to kind of playing a little more team ball. They play a lot more pick and roll now than they used to. And then obviously Doc came in and kind of gave them a new bolt and a new, kind of burst of energy. I actually got the opportunity to talk to Dame Lillard and Giannis and Doc after the Clippers, lost to the Milwaukee Bucks the last time they played. And I spoke to them about the chemistry. And the main thing that they kind of were focusing on was just like the amount of time that they have. And the amount of time that they've been able to, kind of get more and more repetitions. And Dame specifically spoke to myself and other reporters just about like Doc really putting it, kind of an emphasis on them to communicate, but also to play off of each other. And Dame answered a question to another reporter where he said that basically during some of their practice drills, they'll put the other team on the other. I'm sorry, not the other team, but the other 3 guys on the opposite end of the floor. They'll run a play where either Dame or Giannis gets the ball, and then they want Dame or Giannis to sprint to the ball, set a pick, and then either get downhill or throw the ball and swing it to get some more baskets. The biggest reason why Adrian Griffin was fired was because he was not running any sets that Dame Lillard was running in Portland, and the guys just didn't like him. They didn't mesh well, and they also didn't play that well. Now, I will say this. They have had very strong wins over the Clippers. They've had a strong win, actually twice over the Clippers, over the Suns, and then obviously this win versus Oklahoma City Thunder. But for me, it really boils down to defense. They're 5th in the league right now in offensive rating. They're 17th in defensive rating, but their net rating is 8th. So for me, if the Bucks are going to win a championship, they have to be a top 10 defense. They already have a top 5 offense. The defense has to come. I actually look for Chris Middleton to be more of a defensive guy than a scorer, and it actually really kind of disappointed me seeing that he was like making noise and like upset with Doc that he took him out because he didn't get a triple-double. Brother, I left you in the game. You had plenty of time to get a triple-double. Look at what you did. You didn't do enough. We're winning. Get the fuck out the game. If you get hurt, then guess what the first thing everybody gonna say is, see, yep, Doc left him in too long. Then he got hurt. That's why Doc is terrible. So it's like, if you Doc, you can't win, you can't lose. But I do think that if they continue to focus on defense and Chris Middleton gets back to being a good defender, the Bucks will be fine, because what they can't really defend at this point in time are guards in a similar manner to the Clippers. But the difference between them is that you have Brooke Lopez, Giannis with the shot blocker, and you do have guys like Jay Crowder that actually can at least pose some kind of threat. And even though Pat Bev is going to get 35 dropped on his head by most guys, it's going to be a tough 35. So I look at the Bucks, to me personally, as finals or bust, because I think if you don't get to the finals this year, Giannis is out of here next year. He's going here. He's going to the Bulls. He said it last offseason that he always wanted to play in Chicago. I think it's the perfect opportunity with the Bulls, essentially going into rebuild mode, getting rid of, Zach LaVine, Vucevic, and probably DeMar. So, that's how I look at the Bucks. But I do think that Doc has one opportunity to prove that he is not a generational choker, and that's to have a dominant playoff run with the Bucks, get to the finals, and win in 6. I don't want to see it go 7, because if it goes 7, then that means you was up 3-1 and you lost that 3-1 lead, and then you just happened to get over the hump. I want to see Doc and his team do a good job. Doc has also said he's given the players the clipboard this year for them to make adjustments, which I think is a smart thing, because usually he wasn't making any adjustments. So I think the Bucks will be all right. But for me, it's finals or bust. If they don't get to the finals, this is a wasted year.
I agree with that, man. I don't know about the Chicago thing. I would love that, but until they tell Ronsdorf we need Thanasis to get a job,
he ain't coming in no motherfucking Chicago.
You gonna have goddamn Thanasis.
You gonna have playing with Thanasis
from Chicago Soho.
You gonna have that man playing with Ayo making a 6 seed. That man gonna be 31 going through hell. He ain't coming to no damn bull.
That paper on these player haters, old news, money on the other line, so I'm not gonna hold you. Money on the other line, so I'm not